Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Oh, I've already experienced this woman's energy. Strap yourself in and be prepared to learn a lot in the next 25 or so minutes about what's going on astrologically, what answers for what's going on in your life, and then potentially even getting more details through astrology, numerology. She practices tarot. She's a spiritual advisor, of course, an astrologer. She's also an artist. She is your ministry to the stars, and really interested to see what's going on here. Mary Katherine joins us on the program. How are you doing today?
Hi, and Sairam, and thank you for joining us. I can feel the energy coming. You're miles away, but I can feel that energy just moving in and through me. And I thank you. And I'm excited that we're all connected, because the messages that we're sharing, you with me and me with you, it's here to help us all find out who we are, what we're about, why we're here, and what the hell's going on.
So,
because most people that contact me is like, I've given up. I've talked to my parents. I've talked to my church. I've talked to this. Who do I talk to? So I guess I'll talk to an astrologer or read tarot cards, whatever. Can you help me? And that's what I feel my ministry of the stars is all about. So, Steve, how are you today? You're so
excited.
Handsome. Just letting you know, Mercury is gone direct. Yay, finally. That crazy Mercury. If you know anything about astrology, you know that when Mercury goes retrograde, which it doesn't really go backwards, means that other planets are moving and interfering with the energy flow from Mercury. Because, in mythology, Mercury was known as the messenger of the stars because it was the planet that gets closest to the sun. And the sun, of course, we look at as being God. So messages are coming through Mercury, people, planets that help us, little minions on this earth, helping us to find our way, to find productivity, happiness, and completement, and health, and all those other good things. So you are one of those messengers, and I thank you, because today Mercury and Venus are both in Aries, and they're conjoined. Okay, that means a conjunction. Planets there, if you look at the celestial world out there, it's huge. The planets don't really kind of nuzzle up to each other, but we, from declination, from mathematical equations, we find that they have an energy alignment that puts them to what we call a conjunction. So because both planets are in the sign of Aries right now, and they're within 4 and 6 degrees of Aries, they are what we consider to be a conjunction. For people who have that energy, who are born under Aries, under Virgo, under Libra, okay? It doesn't matter what sign, we're all connected, okay? We're all connected because we are all on this tribe I call Earth. This is our home. This is where we can survive, our species, because there's lots of different species in the universe, but this is our species. And so we have been given these tools to help us understand who we are, what we're about, and how we are to live a healthy, happy, and productive, creative world. Because we're all creators. Okay, now would you like to say something?
Lots of questions. I just want to share that I believe you're going to go into my chart in just a moment. But
Yes.
Before we get there, talking about Mercury, we're talking about Venus, them both being in retrograde.
Not now. Turning direct, coming together.
Indirect. How unusual is that? Are we, at this time in our lives, astrologically, in a very unusual situation?
To say the least.
Okay, I figured. What's the takeaway? Because I'm gonna share what I'm feeling, and I want you to tell me if this is accurate.
Oh, I love your intuitive ability. Because your analysis is always so accurate, because you look at all the clues. You look under things, around things, you ask questions, because you want to make sure it's right.
I want to make sure it's right. That's why I'm probing you for info and details. So,
okay, go ahead.
Is this a time, and I find myself doing this now, to not only reflect, but also evaluate your situation, especially your relationships? especially your relationships? Do they support you? Why are these people in your life? Should all of that above, is that really what's going on here? One of the major parts of these two transits?
Well, sure, because they're coming together. It's called a conjunction. Okay. It's like not really a marriage. I look at it when you look at the celestial world about us, which is huge. And when planets, it's kind of like they crash into each other. They can hang out together a little bit for a while. And that can be like how relationships are. It's like, gee, I met this guy the other night at the bar, and oh, it was so great. So you have a little time with that person. And then all of a sudden, boom, he's gone somewhere else. So you have to ask, well, what was that all about? Why did I connect with this person? Will he come back into my life? Will she be there? Will we have, a union of some sort? Those questions we all want to ask, but there's an underlying reasons of why are we even asking? Of course, it's based on hormones. And it's like I asked my grandson, what is the law of attraction? Okay. What is that law? It's something, well, I just feel like I have to be next to that person. What is that chemistry there between us? They'll like you take two magnets and either they're going to push apart from each other or they're going to come together. So that's what we talk about. The mystical era is we're talk about that energy, that mysterious energy that either attracts or pushes apart or crashes. And that's what I believe your mission is. And I like to think that my mission with the Ministry of the Stars is to help you understand why did you come attracted and has spent time with that energy. And then, well, what happened to it? Okay. The stars help us understand. Tarot cards there is a lot because that's pure mathematics is what that is. So when you look at astrology is mathematics. It's all numbers. So, and if you're a mathematician, yes, what you get your PhD in is about mathematics. Because what is the mystery with the lessons, the tools that we're using to help us understand the why and the why not, and how I can be happier, better person, how I can succeed in life, and what the hell am I here for anyway? Those are all the questions you're asking me about. Is that correct?
This is correct. These are, I'm sure you get a lot of the same questions.
Always, no. I just usually said, why didn't you want to come out with me tonight? Now, that's just based on chemistry. That's based on hormonal philosophies and all that sort of thing. I look at everything through the stars. And then I let the tarot cards, I universally call that spirit. Because what is spirit? What is that? It means, again, it's a mathematical energy that seems to be flow in and out and all around us. We have validation from it by actual things happening. But we don't really understand what it is, right? Like if you have 2 + 2, then you know you're going to have 4. So that's why my encouragement to young people, study mathematics. Study the universe, because those are the keys to answering your inner questions.
One of my weakest skills is mathematics.
Well, that's why. That's why you do what you do.
Because I do. Yes. I have no interest in numbers. I know they're important, but it just doesn't do anything for me. And that's why I go over to the creative side. Before we get to my chart as an example today, how did you, Mary Katherine, how did you get into this line of work? Where did your fascination begin?
Well, first of all, I'm a Capricorn. Okay, I was blessed here under the sign of Capricorn. And my time of birth, which is extremely important, was at 8 a.m., okay, which makes me Aquarius rising in the universe, okay? So I'm a Capricorn Aquarian, or considered a 12th house sun, which means I'm very Piscean. Okay, so that was my beginnings here, but I didn't really understand all of that other than through the fascination of it. Fascination of having spirits enter my room as a child, waking up scared to death. What the heck was that? Screaming in the night, usual stories you hear from people like me. And then it wasn't until I hit the age of 18, 19 and became a stewardess with Western Airlines. So I guess you could say that was my avenue to seeking out the stars. So I worked in the airlines with Western Airlines for 7 years. But then as life changes, it was time for me to reach my first Saturn return. Now, the planet Saturn, which I'm ruled by through Aquarius and Capricorn, your first Saturn return, it's a transit of energy that takes approximately 27 to 28, sometimes 32 years to make its full transit.
Mm-hmm.
So on my 27th birthday, I had a very scary experience with mystical spirits. Another very interesting story. But then that's how I kind of left the airlines. I had my first Saturn return, and I went to an astrologer in Phoenix. Her name was Marianne Dennison. She was a very well-known astrologer in Scottsdale. And she says, well, you're going through your first Saturn return. Well, it was at that time, 6 months later, all of the predictions that she made became truth, became a reality. So I went back to her and I said, I want to know all about this stuff. So she told me, she says, you're like a duck that jumped into the water. I jumped into it, have been doing it. I'm a little older now.
You've already had your second Saturn return.
I've had definitely and working on the third. Okay. So that's why I have been not obsessed, intrigued, because it validates itself. Every time I do a chart and things that are predicted and they happen, I think, there it is again. It validated again. Isn't that interesting? And the question is, why? So that leads you on to other things like the why, puts you into a whole different atmosphere of understanding the universe and so on. So it's very informative and very helpful, and it helps you realize who you are and why you're here and what you want out of life. Okay.
Did you say that you were working with that airline for 7 years?
Yep, 7 years. Western Airlines. Remember it? You're too young to know.
I don't remember that name. I honestly don't. But then there's so many different airlines, and they're all regional. Like I might have an airline here in the Northeast New York area. You may know. I could tell you a name now. You'd be like, well, I don't know. I've never heard of that one.
They American Airlines. They merged with American.
Okay.
In my time, merged with American. So
I'm feeling the reason I asked about to get confirmation on the 7 is that I believe that we reevaluate our lives every 5 years-ish, within a few. And
5 to 7.
Yes. And that's why they call it the 7-year itch in relationships, because a lot of times the 5 to 7, you take, let's say it's every 5 years. You take a couple of years to decide what you're going to do in the relationship. That takes you out to the 7. And then I look back in my life, and there were pinnacle moments every 7 years. Again, give or take, a couple of months, 5, whatever. But 7 is something. There's something there. So
there's definitely. And I actually won a lotto card on that 777.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. What was ironic about it, because I was living in the tri-state area. And do you know that that came to me in a dream? It came to me as 727. Then I went to one of our astrology meetings. She says, oh, you have 3 7s. So I went and bought a lotto ticket. Me and probably 10 million other people played that number. We all won. 3 7s. But that's because in 28 years, every 7 years, think about it. You're born 7 years, you finally starting to break away from mom and dad. You go to school. By 14, you're welcome to sex. 21, you're in the crises of leaving college, getting married, starting a family. And that doesn't until you reach your 28th, 29th year, your first Saturn return,
right, that
you finally say, what is it that I'm going to do? I'm not a kid anymore. Suddenly you're thrown into adult world. And it's like, oh, wow, that means married, kids, job, money, buying cars, blah, blah, blah. So it is very important. But the other planet that does that too is you have Uranian energy at work that has crossroads like that too. The two planets at one time were both represented by the planet Saturn. Okay. Saturn, we call him the celestial taskmaster. He is the planet, he represents father, It represents organization, governments. It represents the hardship or the strength of the seeds that come out of a ground to grow a tree. The tree needs strength from the base of the tree to grow branches and leaves so that it can recreate through flowers and fruit and so on like that. So Saturn is celestially very much like father, or the strength or the background that helps you grow from a seedling to a strong person. Okay. And the planet Uranus is very similar because they were both represented by Saturn. But Uranian energy, I call Mr. Toad's ride. Okay. And anyone that has that effect hitting you is like you've either been kicked in the head, kicked in the ass, or you find yourself where what happened to my life? I'm suddenly upside down and nothing makes sense. And why am I feeling like this? Why do I want to get involved? And I meet crazy people, and these crazy people put crazy ideas, and you upset the whole nest of your family and your background, everything that you grew up with, because people say, have you gone nuts? What, you're leaving your job? You did what? Oh my God. Do I need to put you in the hospital? Are you nuts? That's called wake up. Now find out who you are. Find out what your real identity and what you're here for. Have you had that happen to you? Of course you have.
I absolutely. And, even...
It's a wild ride. It's a wild ride.
The ride that we have now with these two transits. I feel that it's... I'm plugged into it, whereby other situations, other retrogrades and such... things were just happening around me. I feel like I got a grip on this, and that's just me personally. You know what? You do charts. You did mine.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit, just an example of some of the things that can come up when you do a chart.
Well, okay, I take your birth data, of course. Mm-hmm. Your time of birth is extremely important. And of course, where you were born. Well, think about it. Of all the millions and billions of people in the world, you born in Mineola? Is that it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mineola. I mean, I couldn't even find that on my. I said a small town anyway. So that's where your life, your identity, your little bulb in the world was born to create and grow. You didn't have any idea. You just know all of a sudden there you are.
Right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So those factors, time, place, okay, and birth date, because there could be billions of people born on your birthday. Okay. I'm sorry. What was the day you were born? I don't have your chart in front of me. What is the date you're born on?
9/2.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. Okay. You're born on the 2nd. Do you know what that means in numerology?
11, and it's a very strong life path number.
Okay, exactly. Okay. But it's a 2. Okay. A 1 is 1. That's me, I, me, only me, I. But a 2 is I see you, and I see that you kind of are me too, and I'm going to learn from you. Consequently, 2 means more than 1, 2 people coming together, relationships. When you put it to the master number of an 11, means that your mission in life is one to where you're not just to think about the 2, you and me, but many more. It's it's considered to be a master number. That one that you are finding that I see myself not only in me and my partner, but I see you in others all around me in the world, because it is a master number. And so with your wisdom and knowledge and intuition, you find in careers to where you're reaching out and saying, I'm here for you and I to talk so that we can learn more about who we are. That's why an 11 is considered to be your agent, your go factor, your person that is the go-betweener. There, you could be a physician, a psychotherapist, an astrologer, a numerologist. You can be any of those because you're the communicating element that wants to help others through seeing through your eyes or through information you've learned, for them to find theirs, ultimately to find happiness and peace, right? Mm-hmm. Because isn't that, in Sabian Symbols, I don't know if you read the Sabian Symbols, which by Mark Edmund Jones, this book right here. Anyway, he talked, and I did a talk on my website about that. It's called The Dove and the Eagle. The dove is black and white. And for this year, for the last year and this year, that is the realization that we are all brown, green, black, white, but we're all of the same dove. We're all of the same ingredients, okay? And so through squabbling and fighting and kicking back, and this is my batch, blah, 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 we come down bottom line to, if you erase everything else all around you, we're really just the same thing. We really just want the same thing. We want to be at peace within ourselves. We want to be able to recreate and enjoy our creations. We want to recreate children, manifest businesses. We want to be there not just on the one unity of self, but together as a unity of all. That's why Spirit had me call 2024 and 2025 this realization that people are realizing that we are the tribe. We are a tribe of Earth, okay? There's lots of Earths out there in the world, but this is our tribe. But don't you find it interesting that now space, that's because Pluto, we'll talk about Pluto, has now moved into Aquarius, okay? And Aquarius represents the brotherhood of man. But Pluto does not have a good reputation. I know it's just an icy ball out there in the sky. But in mythological stories, we find it's, and if you look through history, because history is the next thing, young people should read history, okay? Because the history of the world, history of the United States, because when you correlate history with astrology, and with mathematics, numerology, you find out we've been around this pole before, haven't we? Yeah, that's a realization. So if we had that 200 years ago and we're seeing the same thing in this year, maybe we should think about what we did then and what we did now. So again, we're trying to keep the tribe together. By doing so, recognizing that your commodity and my commodity are the same thing. It's called survival. Next thing is what creates survival. Survival is that your two ingredients, love and truth. Truth and love. Love is, oh yeah, well, I love people. I like people. I'm in love, something like that. But are you being honest with yourself? That's truth about your concept about loving yourself. Because, religion ruled by Jupiter has throughout history been a dominating factor of how to separate people, to say that I'm worth more than you are. Okay. So consequently, I don't like you. So we should eliminate you because, you're a different color or you're a different that or whatever. But no. We're all in the same tribe. It's called humans. We are in the human tribe and we're all different colors, just like flowers. We're all different colors. We all smell different, some sweet, not so sweet, but we're all under the same commodity. So consequently, I think underlying it all, we come to realize that no matter how different you are, your basic core of your being is based on love and truth. And I tried to write a book on that. Do you know what a long dictionary you have to have just in the word truth to try to understand it?
Oh, and I have to tell you, in my journey, I pilot on the truth. I always did, obviously, but...
Yeah, but that's your truth now. That guy's truth may be different. So how do we find that your truth, say your truth that, someone else's, he believes that he needs to go out and beat everybody up and so on and so forth, which goes against the polarity of what love is about, okay? Love is the Jesus Christ. That's the Pisces symbol. Venus in Pisces. That is the symbol of Jesus Christ, which is love each other, have compassion, understanding. That is the idea of Pisces, okay? So, but say you got a friend that has a Mars energy that thinks that beating everybody up and bullying everybody is the answer. So Venus and Mars come together, so they have to either live together or sit down and argue together. But through over eons of time, bottom line, it comes down to the same thing. We all want the same thing. We want to survive. We want to be happy. We want to be healthy. Okay. So, but destroying me doesn't help either one of us, does it? So that's where the Sabian symbol of eagle dove is important, is understanding you can have all of these different classifications, We truthfully only want the same thing. We want to survive. We want to be able to recreate our ideas, our family, our children, and we want to bring safety and happiness for everyone in the Earth human tribe.
So we're almost out of time for today.
Okay. I apologize because when I get on my pedestal, I could go on for hours.
No, I love it. I love your energy.
Time frame, I understand.
But there is energy knows no time and space. So,
this is true. And it does. Oh, boy, am I getting the energy there. Okay, go on.
What for working with somebody to deliver some insight, some information, you can certainly do their, I guess, transit chart. Am I saying that correctly?
Transit.
Okay. That's just one
way.
Which
is very good for you right now. I'm telling you, the aspects for today are excellent. Okay. Really, really good right now. Very, very good. And for you, for example, just with your chart, because Mercury is turning direct, okay, in Aries, you take that two combination, who you are, but Aries says, I got a new idea. I've met some people, I've got a new idea, and I'm really excited about it because all of a sudden I feel like this wealth of energy because Mars represents energy, it's fire, okay? This energy to get up and do something, build something, create something, work with something, talk to people. In other words, it's like, I got a great idea. I need to talk to somebody. Consequently, Mercury and Venus coming together means that you are probably in a process of working with some other intuitive souls, like your website, that's helping them formulate some new directions in their pathway of the tribe. Doesn't that make sense? Am I correct?
You are, and that actually describes my situation at present. I'm being very serious.
Yes.
Idea, moving it forward, fleshing it out, and all of that at this time.
Well, and Jupiter, even though because Jupiter, has kind of been in conflict with Jupiter would be the law, religion, communication, people, the industry of communication. There could be some little itches that need to be scratched or readjusted because because the planet Saturn too. We have to remember Saturn it's moving to 0 degrees, okay, but it's been in opposition to you. It's been squaring. We call it square. It's actually a mathematical degree of 90 degrees because we work with a 360-degree circle, but it's been in square to the mutable signs. That would be Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. So in the last 2 years, planet Saturn, which being in the sign of Pisces, has been a challenge because you've felt this need or this understanding of what the hell's gone wrong with our policies of love and truth and honesty and what's happened to the world. Everybody's trying to destroy everybody. What in the world is going on? So I'm telling you that when Saturn moves, Saturn's at the doorway of Aries. So that means the people, and because Mercury and Venus are direct in Aries, whatever our country, because Saturn represents the government, remember? So the government has been presenting to us this information of, well, you shouldn't like that guy. They did this. They're not nice. I don't like you, whatever. So, but what Saturn in Pisces is saying, what happened to my Christian principles? I don't know whether you call them Christian or whatever. The principles is, they're like my brothers and sisters. I don't want to destroy them. They are members of my tribe. So consequently, now that Mercury and Venus are moving into Aries, the populace are very angry, getting angrier, and they're fighting back because whatever that Saturn was saying for us to take away, if you go back, if you study history, because I'm old enough to remember World War II, okay? And I can remember the ages of Hitler and the doctrine that they set out to the world and taking people and saying, well, because they're that idea, we need to put them over there or burn them alive. So I hate to say we've come back again to the circle of history, but we're seeing the same type of idea of eliminating people from our tribe. Put them over there. They're not nice. I don't like them. That's where the populace is waking up because our melding pot has already been the peoples of the world, all different colors, shapes, size, religions, ideas. So we're coming together, and they're all in a fight to say, we're not going back to history. We're coming together as a unity of strength in our love and caring for each other that are going to combat that. That's where the universe, that's where the United States is right now. So, and the dream, okay, well, I don't want to get too political. I'll stop there. So do you have a question?
I don't do politics. I always leave that out. We're out of time. I want to tell people, if they want, you have so much energy and insight. Wow. There's and what a time for you to show up here with us today with everything going on. Do
you know why?
Because it was meant to be.
No, mathematically, you know why?
Go ahead.
Because Venus is at 9, Mercury's at 5 or 7. It's a 2-degree difference between 7 and 9, okay? And it's considered to be a good aspect. My ascendant is 8. I'm 8 degrees Aquarius, 8 degrees air, okay? So you got Mars and air, fire and air. Astrologically, it was a timing, it was meant to be, okay? And because Jupiter in Gemini right now is conjoined my Jupiter, if you look at the charts, it validates itself. Oh, and let me show you, just wait, don't go away. No, wait, here, let me show you where these charts. Okay, wait a minute. Wanted to show you.
Yeah, they're calling us. They're telling me we're over time.
Oh, yeah, we're over time. Okay. Well, I can show you. Okay. See this chart? Okay. Okay. This is a chart for this month, and these are all that you take your natal chart, and you give the mathematical times of when all the planetary alignments are connected to your chart. So that says this chart tells you when, and we've proven this with the lotto, that when you bet when say Jupiter is conjoined with a planet in your chart, say, I should buy a lotto ticket on that day. I have validated that. But you can use this for relationships, for career, because it validates what we're talking about. And today, because Mercury, Venus direct in good aspect to my ascendant in my 3rd house of communication is why we're talking. Why you're here, and your Mercury can join Venus. That's you, me conjunct. Okay, isn't that great?
This gets so deep for me. That's why I defer to experts like you. And I just want to share with you. You talk about me, 11, life path number, etc. I moved a couple of years ago, and it presented itself. My address is 3 numbers, right? When you add them all up, it's 11. I was like, the 11, and there's other 11 situations that follow me around. So maybe that's meant to be.
When you study that, you say, there is no mystery to that.
No.
It's validated through mathematics. So if it's validated, you can see that in your life, and just instances like that, it makes you question, isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing?
How do we connect with you, Mary Katherine? Somebody wants to get some more insight, maybe have a reading done, anything. How do they start the conversation?
Well, I'm always here sitting in front of this computer. I love it. And I love talking to people. So, hey, my phone number. Can I give you my phone number?
Please do.
520-632-1250. Okay. If you have an issue, money's not an issue. I mean, I would love to be, but don't worry about that. If you're in crises, I'm happy to help you if I can, either through prayer, to a guidance, or an understanding. That's who I am. That's what I'm about. I've been doing this all my life, and because I've had 3rd Saturn return. So the rest of my life, I expect to be here until I'm 120. So I tell you, that is my mission. Okay. That's why I call it the ministry of the stars, because I feel it is like, put me on my pulpit and boy, off I go. And if it can help you, that's the bottom line, is the joy that I receive. So, and I thank you, and Spirit thanks you too, because you're seeing who you are and you believe in it. you're not afraid of it, and you're willing to share it.
Took me a while to figure that out. And it probably took me my second Saturn return to bring that to light, just saying.
There's something about age. Right.
So your website is astral-logicconsulting.com. Do I have that right?
That's right. Right. Or I have another URL. It's called tellmestar.com. That's one that's based more on the tarot cards. But either way, you can find me or just call.
We could go on forever. And I'm going to be very honest. I always am. This is the longest show I've ever done. I'm not even kidding. Really? We're so way over time. Like there's bells and whistles going off, and I really don't care.
Well, I am a Capricorn. I am Saturn ruled, and Saturn does rule time. I have probably 50 clocks in my house.
Wow.
So time is everything.
Fascinating talking with you. There's so much more to dig into. Unfortunately, we ran out of time today. But thank you for everything.
Well, you're very welcome.
I never connected astrology to mathematics and all of this. I really never did. Now I have something more to think about and Virgo process moving forward.
Well, I'm glad a light bulb went on in your head.
It did. And if there's the universe presents it, would love to catch up with you again. Thanks again for being here.
If you want a chart like this, I'd be happy. I got your birth data, and I'll send this over to you, and it'll highlight the dates of when you're really on, man. This is good.
I would love that.
This is a key for. I do have Jupiter in my 8th house, and I'm not a gambler, but there were times when I went out gold hunting.
Okay, instant.
And you get that obsession. So this is a key right here.
Instant feedback. I'm going to tell you right now. Instant feedback, Steve@gmail.com. I'm giving that address to you if you want to send that to me, and I'll share it with everybody else. Or if anybody has a question, if you didn't get her URL, instant feedback, Steve@gmail.com, and I'll make sure you get them. Thank you for being here.
Great.
Really cool.
Oh, well, thank you. Now, can I put my channel, my YouTube channel, can I connect that to my YouTube channel?
1,000,000,000%.
Awesome.
For sure.
We're on it.
All right. We'll talk soon.
You have an awesome day. Sai-ram.
Thank you. All right.
Bye for now.
We'll be right back.
Bye-bye. Okay.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend.
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.